Hi dear friends and subscribers, welcome to the Cricket Happening Show as usual. And in this Cricket Happening Show, I'm going to move from yesterday's match, which was played between Pakistan and Sri Lanka, the first one-day international. Even though Pakistan put up a huge target on the board at 322, what a chase it was. That 8-wicket partnership with Sachitra Sen and Naike, and it was Sekugge Prasanna who gave Sri Lanka a definite hope with some very, very good batting. If you look at it, they actually gave Sri Lanka so much hope. They brought them so close. In fact, when Senanaike was out from 221, they took on the score to 308 with a partnership which was a very quick partnership if you look at it, because they occupied they came at the 42nd over when they joined hands, and they took the Sri Lankan score to almost give a real fright to Pakistan with the score on 308, and that was the time when Senanaike fell. Things started really falling away for Sri Lanka. But what a fist! They really made a fist of it by scoring 311 runs and giving a real fright into the Pakistani camp and losing the match by 11 runs. But it was a very, very exciting affair here at the Sharjah Cricket Stadium. And then we look at the beginning of that is the first day of the second Test match between West Indies, and this was it was the third Test match. Sorry, it was the third Test match between West Indies and New Zealand. And West Indies, well, they were really struggling at one stage at 82 for, not 82 for 5, they were 86 for 5 at one stage. New Zealand had already reduced them, and it looked that it is going to be a similar story as before, where West Indies are going to collapse. They already collapsed 86 for 5, but then Dinesh Ramadhan came in and played in a superb manner to score 18 boundaries in a knock of 107. His fourth Test century, got admirable support from Chandrapal, who's still there at the crease on 94, and both of them chiseled 200 runs for the 6th wicket for West Indies to finish on a very, very comfortable 289 for 6 at close of play on the first day of the third Test between West Indies and New Zealand, which was played at the Seddon Park in Hamilton, and the pitch was playing pretty good. And then we look at the game which happened today, that is between South Africa and India, which was the second day's play, and India collapsed from 255 to be all out for 280. Vernon Philander going on to pick up his 99th Test wicket, and he is only one away from becoming becoming the first South African to cross the 100 mark in pretty quick time. So he's going to be the fastest South African to do so. So that will be a proud record. But well, he picked up 4 wickets, and India absolutely no challenge today. The South African bowlers kept the ball well up to the batsmen, and they learned their lessons pretty quickly. And India, from 255 like yesterday when they were today all out for 280, and that was a pretty sad scene for India. But after that, South Africa, well, they started off well, and they were doing well at one stage when after losing the early wicket of Peterson, Graham Smith and Hashim Amla were in control, and they had already added 93 runs for the second wicket. And after that, South Africa collapsed in a very, very spectacular manner to be from 130 for 1, and they lost 3 wickets at the score of 130 of Amla, Callis and Smith, and then Duminy and de Villiers falling in a Shami over, and South Africa were reduced from a position of strength at 130 for 1 to 146 for 6, and then the late resuscitation was given to the innings by du Plessis, was not out on 17, but Vernon Philander now also showing that he can also do it with the bat as well by carving an unbeaten 48 with 5 boundaries. And South Africa finally, I would say, they went to safety at 213 for 6 against India on the second day of this first Test match between India and South Africa, which is played at the Bullring, that is a new Wanderers Stadium in Johannesburg. So today my time is a bit short, dear fans and subscribers, so I'm only going to do a summary. So first let's look at all the salient features that happened. So yesterday I had left you with saying that Pakistan made 322 for 5. It's onerous task for Sri Lanka, and I had also already talked to you about Kushal Perera's innings of 64. But after that, as I said, again Pakistan really came into the match because they started picking up wickets at regular intervals, and after Angelo Matthews was dismissed for 31, it was looking good, and Thisara Perera, the big hitter, also gone, there was absolutely no hope for Sri Lanka. But look at the hope that Sachitra Sen and Naike and Sekuge Prasanna did. Now Sekuge Prasanna already, as you know, they made a T20 debut, and he showed what he's capable of. He looks to be a real clean hitter of the ball, and both of them, with Sachitra Sen and Naike and Sekuge Prasanna, slammed 3 sixes and 4 fours in a knock of 42 of just 25 deliveries, and Sen and Naike occupying 24 deliveries to make 42 of 7 fours and 1 6, combining into a 8-wicket partnership, 221 for 7. Absolute no-hopers Sri Lanka. Really gave, they really breathed life into the game by putting up this very aggressive partnership for the 8th wicket, and the Pakistani bowlers were absolutely didn't know what to do, because they were really going great guns, because from the 41.2 overs they took the score onto the 48.5 overs. So it's almost, you say, 48 to 50 balls that they played, and the runs that they made, you can just see it. It is almost 88 runs, 88-run partnership, and that gave life to Sri Lanka. But in the end, as I said, once Senanaike was out, it was all over for Sri Lanka, as the tail couldn't really wag, as Malinga and Lakmal couldn't do anything, and that was over. After that, Pakistan wrapped it up, and Pakistan would have heaved a sigh of relief that they wrapped up the Sri Lankan innings for 311. But what a match here at the Sharjah cricket ground, where the first one-day international ended in favour of Pakistan, but only just, and Pakistan winning by 11 runs. As far as the bowling figures are concerned, Hafiz, I'm not going to go into the bowling figures. As I said, I'm short of time today. Mohammad Hafiz of Pakistan was named man of the match. Now we head on to the first day's play at the Sutton Park in Hamilton between West Indies and New Zealand, and it was a good toss to win. New Zealand actually won the toss, and looking at the conditions, probably one does not know whether that was the right decision, but probably New Zealand would have been, Brendan McCullum would have been tempted by the fact that he's having the real wood on West Indies. He would have probably expected, he would have probably decided that it's a better option for him to put West Indies in and just put the pressure on them. But Brathwaite was the new opener yesterday. Brathwaite and Kieron Powell opened the innings. Well, it was a very cautious start to them. They were pretty watchful with the bowling of Trent Bolt, Saudi and Wagner, and slowly went their way, and they added 41. Kieron Powell was the victim of the bowling of Wagner for 26 with 4 fours. Brathwaite contributing, and after that the partnership again started. Once Powell was gone, Brathwaite was joined by Kirk Edwards, and both of them pushed the score to 77, and then finally this was the time from 77 for 1. There was a dramatic collapse by the West Indies batsmen, as it was a poor stroke making, I would say, and also I would say the feet movement was not so perfect. So Brathwaite was the first to go. Cott Williamson bowled Saudi for 45 with 6 boundaries. After that, Kirk Edwards was out for 6 to the bowling of Saudi. Marlon Samuels played a very loose stroke to the bowling of Corey Anderson. In fact, he was giving catching practice, caught by Williamson, bowled Anderson for a duck, and then Dean O'Ryan was clean bowled by Anderson for 2. And suddenly, from a position where they were just trying to get settled in, they went to lunch at 71 for 1, and after lunch it all started happening for New Zealand, as New Zealand picked up 4 wickets in that particular spell, and reduced reduced West Indies to 86 for 5, and that enabled that saw Shivnarayan Chandrapal and Dinesh Ramdin at the crease. And when probably it seemed like probably the first innings of West Indies was going to come to an early end, but Shivnarayan Chandrapal was still there, and that was the good thing about it. And then both of them slowly started wearing out the bowlers with some, and Dinesh Ramdin was very aggressive in the sense he was not allowing any loose balls to go unpunished. He used to really play the strokes very well, and both of them combined and started frustrating the New Zealand bowlers to such an extent that they extended this particular partnership from 86 for 5. They extended the partnership to 286. So that was a partnership of 200 runs for the 6th wicket. And finally, just before close of play, very unfortunately, Dinesh Ramdin was caught by Brian Watling with the bowling of Anderson, playing a very loose shot, I would say, and he was gone for 107, his 4th Test century. And what a knock that was from Dinesh Ramdin, 107 with 18 boundaries, and that left Chandrapal not out on 94 with 10 boundaries, and Darren Sammy, the captain, not out on naught. And Darren Sammy would be a happy man to see West Indies placed at 289 for 6. at close of play on the first day of the second test match at Hamilton. As I said, the 200-run partnership with Dinesh Ramadan and Shivnarayan Chandrapal turning things around for the West Indies. The bowling, Trent Bolt, 19 overs 1 made and none for 67. Tim Southee, 20 overs 1 made and 56 runs and 2 wickets. Neil Wagner, 20 overs 4 made and 66 runs 1 wicket. Corey Anderson was the pick of the bowlers yesterday. 14 overs 3 minutes 3 for 25. None for 14 for Williamson of 4. And Ish Sodhi, leg spinner, was really handled very well by the West Indies. West Indies not allowing the bowlers, the New Zealand bowlers, to really settle in. The Ish Sodhi was really attacked a lot by the West Indies batsmen. Probably there was a change of approach, considering that they had already had a look at him in the previous test match. And Ish Sodhi leaked 53 runs of his 13 overs, and the pitch was playing good. There was nothing much for the seamers or the pacers, and it was very essential that West Indies had to really recover, and they recovered. They truly did recover through that 200-run partnership between Chandrapal and Ramadan, and now they still have a long way to go. They have to really carry on, and Darren Sammy has to give admirable support to Chandrapal and probably expect West Indies to pass the 400-run mark, so that with the spinner Sunil Narine and the other spinner they can put. But it was a wonderful exhibition by West Indies for the simple reason that their mainstay Darren Bravo was out of this test match to India. As you remember, he got his first maiden double century, his maiden double century in New Zealand in the first test, and also their main bowler Shane Shillingford, who was deemed by the ICC to have an illegal action, was also out. So considering the fact, I thought West Indies did a good job in scoring 289 for 6 on the first day on a very true pitch. And let's shift the attention today to the South Africa-India game, where, as I said, India were well placed yesterday with Dhoni and Rahane at the crease, and India would have been looking forward to probably score in excess of 400. But let me tell you, today South African bowlers had a different approach. Yesterday we saw they were testing the batsmen outside the off stump, but today they were closer to the stumps. They bowled a very good line, and the rewards were there. As the first to go today in the morning was Mahendra Singh Dhoni. In fact, it was India from 255 were all out for 280, with Dhoni first going, caught de Villiers, bowled Morkel for 19. After that, it was I would say it was the next to go was Ajinkya Rahane. It was a beautiful delivery from Vernon Philander, which actually got a nick onto the bat of Rahane. De Villiers poaching the catch behind. He was gone for 47 with 8 fours. After that, it was Philander all the way, with Zahir Khan out the very first ball that he faced on his comeback. LBW bowled Philander for a duck, and then the timbers were rattled with Ishant Sharma bowled by Philander for a duck. Mohammad Shami bowled by Morkel for a duck. Philander going on to picking up his 99th test wicket, and with one more wicket, with 100 wickets, he will be the fastest South African to do so, to the 100-wicket group. And I'm not going to go into the bowling figures because of shortage of time here. Philander bowled excellently, 27 overs 6 made and 61 runs and 4 wickets. 23 overs 12 made and 34 runs and 3 wickets for Morne Morkel, and 1 wicket apiece to Dale Steyn and Jack Scalise. As far as South Africa were concerned, they started off in a very good way, with Graham Smith being very careful against Zahir Khan, because Zahir Khan has already had Graham Smith's wicket many a time, so he was pretty watchful there. Alvaro Peterson hit some very good boundaries, and then Alvaro Peterson was the first wicket to go, as he was LBW bowled Ishant Sharma for 21. So the breakthrough was provided by Ishant Sharma. Ishant Sharma was really bowling the ball up to the batsman and allowing the ball to do its bit there, and that's what yielded a wicket. So Ishant Sharma picked up the wicket of Alvaro Peterson, LBW for 21 with 4 fours. So that made the score 37 for 1, and after that it was Graham Smith and Hashim Amla slowly playing the Indian bowlers. In fact, I would say they were living dangerously. There was a catch being dropped in the slips, and also that was the bowling of Zahir Khan, and Graham Smith was the batsman who was benefiting from that. And let me tell you, the Indian bowlers bowled very well. They also bowled a very good line, not giving nothing away, and Graham Smith and Amla had to really wait for the loose ball to really crack a stroke. There was a lot of edges and misses, and I wouldn't say it was pretty convincing as far as the partnership was concerned, but later on they really gathered confidence and started playing some strokes, and things started looking pretty good for South Africa, with South Africa looking like really dominating the Indian attack, with the score standing on 130 for 1, and that was the time everything started going India's way, with the first wicket being taken by Ishant Sharma. When Ishant Sharma bowled a delivery, with Hashim Amla actually thought that the ball is going to swerve away, but instead the ball came and crashed onto the stumps, and Hashim Amla was surprised, but he had to go LBW ball Ishant Sharma for 36 with 6 boundaries. So that was wicket number 2 at 130, and at the same score, the very next delivery, what a big wicket for Ishant Sharma, as Ishant Sharma got a ball which was actually bowled absolutely straight. Jack Scali's first up tried to actually play across his front pad, and he was wrapped on the pads, and up went the umpire's finger, and what a joyous occasion for India. A big wicket for India there, as Jack Scalise was gone. LBW bowled Ishant Sharma for a blob, and India and South Africa were 130 for 3. And in the next over, it was Zahir Khan's turn, but Ishant Sharma couldn't get a hat-trick, and then Zahir Khan came in the next over and picked up another big wicket. That was Graham Smith. Now, you know, Graham Smith, he has picked up a lot of times, and even though he didn't pick him up pretty early, but once again, Graham Smith's wicket went to Zahir Khan, as Zahir Khan brought what a delivery from Zahir Khan. It was a fast, it was a late in-swinging delivery to Graham Smith, and Graham Smith couldn't actually get a bat onto it. He was wrapped on the pads, and he was absolutely plumb in front, and Graham Smith was walking. LBW bowled Zahir Khan for 68 with 11 fours. That made the score 130 for 4, and if you look at the scorecard, at the score of 130, they lost Amla, Callis and Smith, and suddenly South Africa at 130 for 4 were really struggling. And that really boiled up things, as Mahendra Singh Dhoni, seeing that the old ball, Mohammad Shami is very good with the old ball, what he did is he actually summoned Mohammad Shami and gave the old ball to him, and Mohammad Shami responded in an admirable manner with 2 new batsmen at the crease. He first picked up the wicket of JP Duminy as he got the ball to really go away from the batsman, and JP Duminy nicked at it. Caught Vijay, bowled Mohammad Shami for 2, and AB de Villiers, what a wicket that was for Mohammad Shami. That was a beautiful delivery which was bowled by Mohammad Shami, and that was a ball which actually skidded. It actually pitched it and went just skidded. It went so quickly that AB de Villiers, before he could get his bat onto the ball, it was all over. He was LBW, he was wrapped on the pads, and AB de Villiers was walking. LBW bowled Mohammad Shami for 13, and what a move by Mahendra Singh Dhoni, the Indian captain, to give that ball to Mohammad Shami, and Mohammad Shami immediately responded by taking 2 wickets, and suddenly this South African innings was absolutely in gloom. They were staring at down the barrel at 146 for 6, and then it was du Plessis and Vernon Philander in the middle, and then du Plessis and Vernon Philander had to really do a real recovery job there for their team, and well, they did that, with Vernon Philander finishing on an unbeaten 48 with 5 boundaries, which was good to see. Du Plessis was the more sedate partner in that partnership, which has already yielded some valuable runs for South Africa, which is very important, and just thanks to du Plessis and Vernon Philander really taking things upon themselves and taking South Africa to a score of 213 for 6 at close of play on the second day of this first test match between India and South Africa. Du Plessis, as I said, more sedate than Vernon Philander, not out on 17 with 1 boundary. Vernon Philander was the one who was more strokeful, 48 with 5 boundaries. He played the pull shot very well. He was really dealing with the short ones very well. So 213 for 6 was what South Africa finished with. So they are just 67 runs adrift of the Indian total. I mean, they require another 167 runs to get into the lead, and I think it was a day where one could call it even Stevens. Let's look at the bowling figures. Zahir Khan once again getting Graham Smith's wicket with a beautiful delivery, 22 overs, 4 maidens, 72 runs and 1 wicket for him, so you'll be happy with that effort. Mohammad Shami, 18 overs, 3 minutes, 2 for 48, did what the captain wanted him to when South Africa were already struggling. Ishant Sharma was the man who really started bringing that by picking up those very vital wickets of Hashim Amla and Jack Scalise in 1 single over. 20 overs, 4 minutes, 3 for 64, and Ashwin, we saw only some 6 overs of spin, and that went for 25 runs of the bowling of Ashwin. Well, dear fans and subscribers, on this note, I'm going to end my cricket show. That's it for the present, and there'll be more on my next Cricket Happening show. Until then, it's your host Ram saying goodbye. Thank you.